Welcome back to First Look Asia. This next individual may be a veteran in the insurance business, but he still approaches each day with boundless energy and enthusiasm. He's George Sartorel, the regional CEO of Allianz in Asia Pacific.
Allianz operates in 14 Asian markets with around 32,000 employees. It serves the needs of more than 18 million clients.
Is likely to grow under his leadership too. He is our top executive this morning on Coffee with the Boss. On Coffee with the Boss, we speak to George Sartorel, Allianz Regional CEO for Asia Pacific. Allianz is a leading global financial services player and also the world's largest insurer. George has been with this company for close to 40 years and has worked across continents in Europe, Australia and now Asia. He's currently leading the Allianz charge to become a customer-centric digital champion. Let's go meet him. Hi George, nice to meet you.
Good morning, Lance. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good man, you got the coffee all sorted.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you straight off the bat, you've spent something like 40 years with one company. Why is that?
Well, it's an interesting question. First of all, thank you for joining me today for breakfast.
Pleasure,
it's
sir.
a pleasure to have you here. I feel like I've been privileged enough to work all around the world with Allianz. Allianz is a very big company, as you know. You would have done your homework on
Yes.
that. And so one of the ways you spend 40 years is when Allianz actually takes over your company. So Allianz took over the Australian company that I worked for, and so therefore I became part of the Allianz clan. So yes, I've been with Allianz since 1979, and I continue to enjoy my roles. I've worked in many places from Australia, New Zealand. I spent my early years in the early 90s here in Asia. I lived in Kuala Lumpur, but then also worked in Munich and in Zurich, Turkey, which was very interesting. And before I came to Singapore, it was Italy. And I guess that's what keeps you interested, because everything is a challenge. You know, it's a new challenge every time. You meet new people, a new culture, a new context. And yeah, I've been kept interested all these years.
Now, I know you're very strong on digital. You want to become a customer-centric digital leader. Can you tell us about your plans?
Yes, certainly. Look, the world's changing. I think we all know that. And digital is a very transformative technology that's coming through. It's actually changing the way people behave, the way people buy, the way people used to like to buy things and be involved. And insurance is a very traditional business. You know, so is banking, but insurance probably more so. And so making that transition is not easy. You know, when you're a 126-year-old company and you've been issuing policies all that time, all of a sudden when you have to try and issue something very quickly on a mobile phone with very limited information, it gets quite challenging. So we embarked on this journey in Italy quite a few years ago, and we turned that company into a digital insurance company. It was really successful. It's become the template for the group. And I've come to Asia really to lead the digital transformation of the group. We believe that Asia's leapfrogging a lot of this development, a lot of this technology, and we believe that this is where we're going to build the business model of the future.
With the Internet of Everything and the use of smart technology, do you think insurance will be on the decline?
There's a lot of information, a lot of evidence about, for example, motor premiums around the world will decline by 40% within the next 15 years. And that's very true. It'll decline for a number of reasons. One, because cars will be safer, right? That's where the transformation has to take place. And so we see insurance, what we call insurance as a service now, rather than insurance as just a claims protection. Now we see insurance as a service and protecting all the things that can go wrong, whether it's in a family or an individual or on a journey, right? Or on a scooter ride, perhaps in Indonesia where you've got a pillion passenger and you need cover for just the duration of that journey. So yes, some traditional businesses will shrink, but then the opportunities will increase. And the best opportunity is to really getting more engaged with the customer. Protection when they need it, for what they can afford.
George, I know that you would have been involved in a crisis or two because you've spent something like 40 years with this company. Could you take us through maybe some of the things you do once you're confronted with a crisis?
I have faced quite a number of different crises around the world. I think we were in Italy when the interest rates went crazy and you know the whole mess started in the Eurozone. And there was a lot of panic. And so the first thing you have to do is not panic. You need to give people confidence that you're going to find a way through this together, right? And that you have a resilient business, and that between us we'll find the answers to get through. So the first thing is not to panic. People need confidence. If they see the boss panicking, then it's mayhem. The second thing is you have to be very clear about communication. What is the issue? What facts do we need to find out about this? Let's not run around looking for all sorts of things. Let's understand what we need to know about this particular issue. How do we organise ourselves to get this resolved? How do we communicate with our stakeholders? Because they're also concerned. Our customers, our shareholders, our partners, right? Let's not forget them. So you need a clear, transparent way forward. And you need to be able to communicate it really well. And then you need to really be amongst it. You know, when there's a real crisis and people are working so hard and it's clear for them, then you need to be amongst it. You need to be there. Just to be there, just to pat people on the back and say, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Gee, you're doing a good job. Do you have any questions? So just being present is really important, I think, for a leader.
George, what's the best advice you ever got?
The best advice I ever got. I think the most simplest advice I've ever got, which I thought is very impactful, is if you take a new role, let's say like a CEO, right? And it's a new role. Let's say you're the first CEO role you've ever had. Or if you aspire to be a CEO, you better start acting like one now, right? So start acting like one, start thinking like one, start behaving like one, start communicating like one. And I think that's probably the best advice I would give some young talents about the next role. Start acting into that role immediately, do the work, think about how you would perform, how you would behave, how you would communicate.
You spent time in Australia, New Zealand.
Yes.
You spent time in Europe, and now you're in Asia. Are you excited about being in this part of the world?
Absolutely. I actually asked to come to Asia.
Oh, really?
I did my job in Italy. We turned that business around. It became probably the most profitable insurance company in the world, bar none. Allianz Italy is the only insurance company in the Harvard Hall of Fame for excellence in strategy execution. And I said to the boss in Munich, I think we should do something in Asia now. So it was really my call. And we have big plans for Asia, and we have really good people. So it's a very exciting area. I mean, I think it's, the markets are not the same. China's very different to India, and India's very different to Singapore, and so on. Allianz has a lot of capacity to invest in this region and has made a commitment to invest in this region. So I see a huge future for Allianz and a huge future for young talent in this region. And I would say one other thing. I would say that joining the insurance industry now, particularly here in Asia, is a great time for young people because this business model is going to be transformed completely. There's going to be more change in the next 5 years in this model than there has been in the last 50 years.
Well, you've got something like 18 million customers currently in Asia.
Yes.
I can just see it growing under your care.
Yes.
You haven't touched your espresso. I guess you're a 2 cup a day espresso man.
This is number 3 now, Lance.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks.
George was such a pleasure to talk to. He's so sharp. He's got his finger on the trigger. He can do anything. It was nice talking to him. Now, if you know of a top executive I should be speaking to, let me know. You can reach me at LanceCNA. Remember to use the hashtag FirstLookAsia too.